Okay, well, we got a mini update that it seems like it's going to backfire from what the original idea for it was, which was to prevent queue and to prevent spamming of login on the accounts. However, as it seems, it's not gonna do absolutely any of that. It's just gonna do something completely different, which I'm going to explain in this video. Now, I didn't want to rush this because I've had a few people already pushing me that I do this video, but I wanted to first gather my thoughts and collect other people's impressions about how this might end up affecting the game overall. So I took some time to think about everything, pros and cons. Well, there isn't really actually any pros, that's probably already a leak, but there are some of the few cons that, man, it doesn't feel right, and you'll actually see why once I go further into it. Now, alongside of what you are going to probably see in the title of the video, there are also a few other changes that I found over those 6 or 7 days, how much I've had time to explore everything. Of course, I clearly didn't find all the changes, so if you find any other changes that I missed down, feel free to drop them down in the comments below and we are going to discuss them. Okay, I got myself a list over here made so that I don't forget something, because there's quite a few changes that happened. And first change that I found is they have adjusted the concentration function regards of the buttons and updating a flavor text for the function itself. So let me see if I have any. Yeah, I have over here. Okay, now this is a concentration function. They have updated this text over here a little bit, so that is just way more simple for people to understand how it actually works, how to open it, and so on. And over here they have adjusted the text box where the text explains how much you gain EXP and energy. Also, they have modified some of those boxes around here. They look a little bit different than they used to in the previous patch that we got in, I believe, June, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Or yeah, something like that. So that was the first change that I found. Second change is actually at Minimap, and its newbie guide button is now completely closed. I don't know why it's closed. I guess nobody really looked into it, but in general I believe it wasn't really much of a help, I guess, because if we go around, let's say, level up tips, like the text that explains certain things is not completely updated at all. It stayed the same since, I believe, when the patch was level 70, so from that side I can understand why they closed newbie guide button completely. But then again, they probably did it to save up on some files, to cut some megabytes, although the game itself is very low in a download consumage, so I don't see why, but I guess that could be one of the explanations why. Next is they have removed a Chinese mobs and NPC that was in a Ghost, I think it was Ghost Shadow Swamp, which is in Snow Village, if I'm not mistaken. Some of you may remember those mobs. They were added in the previous patch in June, I believe it was end of the June. Why did they added that? I'm assuming it's a mistake. I'm going to show you where they were located for those of you that didn't know them. And I will post pictures of those mobs. So the NPC, that it was like completely Chinese NPC. I think it was like a water lady dead lying in the ground. Her name, I went to translate, and so what I found out is that they use original Chinese language when they are translating files into English. So yeah, the name of the lying NPC was, I think, Chamber of Commerce boss. However, we already have an NPC under that name, which is located. But yeah, before we go there, the mobs, they were, I believe, level 88 or 86. I'm not sure now. But yeah, I have screenshots taken, which I will post eventually in a short video. They were scattered all over here, like in this area. I believe up to this part of a river and all the way here where the veteran blackberry is. Now, something that they have put them just to test the waters, if it would prevent bots going to that area. However, bots never went into this area because there is a veteran, and the veteran takes quite a long time to kill, even if you gather a team of 5 bots with, let's say, 4 tamers and a fairy. So yeah, that was actually not the case. So it must be that they probably just tested something and they forgot to remove it, and that was pretty much the cause why they left them there, and they just completely forgot until we noticed, and they eventually decided, well, it's not clearly meant to be here, so we are going to remove it. And the Chamber of Commerce boss is located over here, as you can see, Chamber of Commerce boss. So clearly that name was a placeholder name for whatever the original name of that NPC was. And mob's name, when I translated, was guard of something. I can't really remember on top of my head what it was exactly, but yeah, I'll post it in a short. Next one is the calendar. Got some extra options, and they added here festival event option. Now, I went through all of this to check if there's any marks here to some kind of events, which there is none. So I don't know what is actual meaning behind adding this festival event function at all. Also, they added this weekly event function, which pretty much does nothing, as it's staying the same as it was in all function. So yeah, I don't know what the deal is there. Maybe there are some upcoming changes regards of event schedule or whatever the plan is already. But yeah, they've added those. Most likely they won't do anything with them because they tend to add some functions that serve no purpose at all. Like, we still have some functions that serve no purpose for years now. So yeah, I'm not really expecting anything out of this. If it happens, something, it happens. If not, it's just whatever, it's just there. Next change is they moved around pets in order in the shop. They have moved Moon Rabbit Pet and Magical Lamp Pet to a page 5, and previously here were Wolf Boy Pet and Grey Rabbit. So what's the deal with that? I don't really know. I guess they wanted to put all the cheap pets on one page and those good ones, exclamation marks, over here in exclusive slot, which I don't think it really does anything. As a matter of fact, it just makes the pets to find harder, because most of the people are just going to click first 3 pages. They won't go all the way up, assuming there's really nothing aside from maybe books or whatever. But I'm just speaking theoretically how a free-to-play player would approach to this. But yeah, that's another change. Another change is some NPCs got moved around. Now, the only NPCs so far that I found that they have moved around are Lady Christina and Sir Adam, I believe their names are. And they are located over here. See, yeah, probably bugged my position, which is common case. That's also what they should fix, but they don't for whatever reason. But yeah, those two were located on this side, and this lotus, Buddha lotus, was also in between them on this side. Why did they change them? No idea really. They just only made them, like, if you go to this place, they only really just made them harder to spot, because directly as you come to this, they are right ahead of you, and now you actually gotta look right and rotate your camera right to spot them. But I guess this spot was their original position as this little tower or whatever they are calling it. I don't know, like, I'm going to find a name for this. It's like a little resting place or something, but I guess, yeah, this was original position where they should be from the start, but yet they have been for years on the left side, so I guess this was their original intention where they should be in the first place. And as far as those minor, not important changes, that is really it. So now we can get into two big changes that are causing not so much a havoc, but maybe unnecessary rambling. Well, one of them causes unnecessary rambling, and that is adding 10 account restriction per one IP. Now, their idea was to limit spam logins, to make queues smaller, and to decrease amount of bots so there is no queue at all. However, they forgot that we are going to find a loophole in everything, including this game. And of course we did found, and that loophole is very simple. You can just download the old client and run extra 10 accounts that way, so pretty much you would have 20 accounts on, let's say, your computer. Another version, you can do same, only download the VPN if you, let's say, have another device like a laptop, and if you put it under VPN, you do the same thing as you did on PC, so including a download the gold client and running them from the original updated client. So that's going to be an extra 20 accounts possible to log in. So already there we have 40 extra accounts. And another version is you are just going to create a virtual machine, and what the virtual machine is pretty much a, let's say, like a separate Windows on your computer. So pretty much you have like a minor secondary system, from which also if you apply a VPN you get another 10 extra accounts. So pretty much that absolutely achieved nothing in the grand scheme of things. So it really backfired on them. And how are they going to fix this? I don't think they are even going to bother anymore, because they do see that, well, the major problem only we have on Light and Darkness server especially is queue. I have accounts on every other server and there is literally never, like at all, any queue, even during wartime. Only there were queues, I think, for the first 2 weeks, like during weekends on the Estival Echo server, because server is new and a lot of people hopped in there to start over or just start from the beginning, or I don't know, move some T points while they can, because they had a few cool discounts where they literally had 50% on everything during the first 3 days, which you can check out in one of my videos I made about it. So yeah, restricting accounts really does nothing. Like, we found a loophole. So are they going to bother fixing it, or however they're going to bother? I think, yeah, if they found some way, they might do it. If they don't find it that amusing, However, the goal with this is, did it decrease a queue a little bit? For a tiny fraction it did, actually. I did notice that the queue is just a tiny bit smaller, like it's still ginormous, especially during Saturdays or during Wednesdays. But yeah, that did nothing. And now the biggest problem that I found, and the problem that I think is going to ruin free-to-play players, which you probably saw by the title of the video, is partial removal of evil health prints. Now, if we go into shop under special section where they were, they are removed. So there's no package per 1 or package per 10. Also, there were quite a few people that have researched and opened during Saturdays and during normal days. They have also removed them completely from hell prints. So there's already they removed them on 2 spots out of 3. Now the only way that you still can get them is from Phoenix City war boxes. And you can get them, of course, in a chance. You can open them as single, which is 1, and you can open them in a stack of 10. However, there, as participants of wars know, the chance to open them in the first place is really low, because you have only so many boxes that you can open, and there's a lot of players that open boxes, so you pretty much have like maybe lesser chance than 1% to even open one of those. So that alone will cause a problem, because there were quite a good few things that came out evil hell prints, and I made myself a full list over here, which you could drop out of evil hell prints, and I will go through them. First one is Super Refinery Charm. That thing always went for the original price of T-points, so it's not going to affect the price itself, let's say. So it's always, like, even in a sale, it went for 37 T-points regardless when you convert it into gold. It's only going to make players to, well, especially free-to-play players, it's going to force them to buy T-points, which is, I get it, it's of course the game developers and owners' goal is to buy T-points. However, you have to also think about free-to-play players, which they stopped years ago, and it's so heartbreaking to see, because the free-to-play players were the most fun players that you could be around, and that's just coming from me, because I'm not saying that I'm most fun person, but who's close to me knows how I am. But yeah, this won't affect the price of it. It's just going to force people that they buy more T-points. Now we come to a problematic part, which is Coldara Monster. Now Coldara Monster was only way that you could drop was out of evil health prints. I'm not sure, somebody told me that you could also drop them from regular health prints, but I don't think I've ever seen or heard anyone show me that they have dropped from regular ones. Maybe I may be wrong again, correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. But yeah, what that will cause is Coldara Monster was one of the cheapest 30 speed mounts that you could get as a free-to-play player with gold. Let's see if there is any on auction now. Coldara Monster, yeah, as you can see, like +6 is 25k, plus, well, maybe that's not the best representation, but if you find, let's see if there is any at all. Well, currently there is none, but the general idea was you find really cheap Coldara Monster or some other mount for 30 speed, and it just makes you so much easier to play. because getting a G plus 7 patent mount is so significant for free-to-play players that they can push onwards, and that is the cause a lot of them, if they can't get to that point, is making them to quit. And especially it's going to probably make them now, because literally we are going to stay without any cheap 30 speed mounts by default, and you're going to see in a second. So not being accessible Coldara, it's going to pose a problem for a lot of people. Jackstraws are in general dependent on bot drops, and you can drop them a few other places, but they are way less lesser source of appearance under. If we, let's say, compare them from botting, you would drop way more jackstraws from bot, so that really won't affect them much in price, I believe, nor in consistency of appearance. Same goes for pet foods. Again, biggest source of them is from botting, so that also won't affect price of it at all. Pills, same thing, like you would drop like very small amount of pills out of ill health prints alone, and of course most of them coming from bots, so again that won't affect the pricing at all. Occult berries and pit of energy stones. Now I believe it's going to affect occult berries because they by itself, they are hard to come by, and most of, well, I won't say most of them, but good chunk of them came from farming evil health prints. So most of those that you see on auction, let's say, occult berries, 1 second, yeah, most of those that you see on auction have come from either war boxes, South Borderland, or evil health prints, so that's going to affect their price at all, like quite a bit, and will force more players, because I know a few players that bought occult berries that are lazy. They bought them just from shop directly because just they couldn't care leveling, so they just snatched them from here. Pit of energy stones, however, they won't be impacted that much because they are energy focused. Occult berries are experience focused, so yeah, I mean, again, pit of energy stones are just you can just do quests, you gather up energy eventually, so that's not really a big deal. Next up on list are residual shadows. Residual shadows, they might see like smaller appearance on shop installs, because quite a decent chunk of them, I would say, came from evil health print. However, there's a lot of people now opening those 3 boxes, Griffin box, Fantasy Treasure box, and Dragon King treasure box. So yeah, the residuals are going to be present all the time, like it won't, and most of them anyways, most of the residuals were sold for the actual price of the T points, so it won't really much impact them. And personally, it won't impact even free-to-play players, because free-to-players are going to just rather snatch soul bells than buy directly residuals. Largest. Largest, I mean, you can drop a lot of them, like you may drop maybe 3 or 4 on a, let's say, 3 to 4k amount of opened. Emeralds, personally, they will probably jump in price. They won't probably jump all that too much, and it won't impact them that much, because minority of people even buy large emeralds, because in general they are way lesser in use, because you only really need them for weapons and mounts. That's really it. However, large rubies might see, I predict they might see jump in price, because rubies, as we all know, they are just needed endlessly. Like, you can never have enough of them, especially if you are one of those people that want to combine every single set that comes out, which again, for free-to-play players is not the best idea, but pay-to-wins, they just don't care. They just want to have the most of the best. But yeah, let's see current pricing. what the heck is happening here? 1 second. Yeah, as you can see, they already jumped. They were like 3.1 and they are now already 3.5. So large rubies, I predict, are going to jump in price everywhere, not just on our server, of course. A issue with that is going to have free-to-play players again, because most of us, myself included, have always bought them from auction because it's always cheaper than buy them from shop, which is, I think, for now, like, as you can see, this is almost like 7 to 8 KT points, and you can just buy them for double less from auction, because there's so many ways to get them, and there's so many apps that drop them, they open them from Easter egg, not the Easter egg, but the TO lucky egg. So yeah, large rubies are going to be definitely affected, and it's going to be big problem. Advanced inlay game bags, I don't think that's going to impact them much, because you can still open them from regular hell prints. So price may go just a tiny bit up, but it really doesn't matter because it's only advanced game bags. So you still have a mile to go up to the, let's say, super mystic or premium. Yeah, so pretty much that won't be impacted at all. Let's see what we have here. Elite charms. Elite charms will see jump in price, because I would say like 40% or 50% of those came from hell prints. Well, actually evil hell prints, because in general evil hell prints will drop you way more elite charms than hell prints do. So current price, I think, is around 90 gold for one charm elite, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Where is this stall? Yeah, 440. This is just a nonsense. Let's find somebody with a normal price. I guess this is the same guy. Yeah. But in general, you can find elite charms for a 90 to 100 gold right now, and because they will see lesser accessibility now, because you can't get evil hell prints anymore, they were going to probably jump in price, which again, it won't be a big deal for short term, but in long term, again, it depends really what how are people going to set up their mentality regards of selling them. So if everybody jumps on increasing the price, for them it's going to pose a problem for free-to-play players, because free-to-plays generally stop on elite or at super inlays at the very best, because mystics and premiums you really just have to have a knowledge, a good gold income, and it just takes time for, even like, let's say I personally have built my 4th premium Valor, like it took me like 8 months or so to just gather all the resources to make one. So you can imagine how big of a problem, and I'm playing 14 years, so I have some decent knowledge of how to make gold and so on. But for new players, I wouldn't be in their skin. Let's see what else we have. Bright chips. The problem that I have with this is it won't impact the price itself, because bright emerald and ruby chips have always went for a price of how much are currently bright emerald and ruby in T-Point shop. What I have problem is collecting bright chips was a cheap, flexible way for free-to-play players to gather the gem without actually buying T-Points and unforcefully spending gold to buy T-Points. So that is another problem that is going to cost a lot of players time, patience, and probably money, because eventually you can only have so much patience with everything, because this game, if you are going a free-to-play route, a lot of us know that a lot of things it take you a few years to build up. So it's going to be tough for bright chips, but again, if you can manage out to buy them directly from shop, let's say, or if somebody drops them, snatch them right away, because we're going to see a big decrease in accessibility of those chips. And we come to the biggest problem for this patch due to evil hell prints being removed, and that is mecha parts. Mecha parts were only way that you could get them from evil hell prints, and now that they are so limited that you can only get them from war boxes, it means there will be no more cheap dino mount. It means no more cheap Optimus Prime, no more cheap Decepticon pet, and those two pets and mount are going to see a skyrocket price increase, which opposes a big problem for free-to-play players. Again, I can't stress this enough how much this will impact the new, especially new players that come in, because you no longer have something to rely on that you're going to get eventually easy way, because mecha parts were such a crucial breaking point for a lot of people, like myself included. I have built this Optimus Prime that you see by myself. I've collected mecha parts also by myself. I bought them from auction from other people, finding on stalls and so on and so on. And if it wasn't for that, it would be a really big struggle for me. Like, I speak from my own experience, and I'm sure some of the people can agree with me that tipping point was for them getting a cheap, because what I'm saying is those pets have 3 skills that you must have, unlike some pets that, let's say, cost absurd amount of T points, like look, Ice Scorpic or Dark Griffin, and let's say on Dark Griffin you don't want move speed, like you have really no way of removing it because it's a default skill. And regards of, let's say, Optimus, it has high HP recovery, it has defense, and it has maximized HP. You don't never want to remove any of those 3 skills, which was a big selling point for those, and this is just going to pose such a big problem for so many people that I wouldn't be shocked if we see even bigger decrease in amount of players that come and go. And yeah, I really don't know what else to say than we need a change that's going to impact all of us for the better, like especially for the better of this game, because their idea for this was to improve, let's say, how they call it, quality of life of the game. However, they just did completely worse and just ruined free-to-play players, like in a long term. And I'm really not looking forward for anybody that comes in, like you are going to have a little bit harder times. So yeah, it's not going to be a fun time, but again, we still have updates to come which are going slower and slower, so we are going to see over time what happens. But yeah, it's going to be a little more than we have anticipated. Okay, I hope I have cleared out some of the things that you guys have brought me up with the questions. If you have any of your opinions, please leave them down in the comments below. Also, like, share and subscribe as always. More of quality content is awaiting you. And with that being said, take care, and let's hope that we get something better in the future. Have a good one.